Hello, hello, I can't even speak. A happy Wednesday. Welcome to Stamping A to Z. This is my 200th episode. I did not realize it was a special one until I was pretty much going live. So I decided, I think I'm going to do, I had some prizes that I wanted to use, and I don't know if it's better to wait for 201 or if I was thinking maybe I would wait to do the draw till next week's live. And so since this is going to be on Facebook and I'm trying it again, hopefully it won't freeze up on me. Seems to be okay so far. It hasn't given me your signal is low. I will post it onto YouTube. And so I have two prizes, one for Facebook viewers and one for YouTube viewers. If you share, comment, or place an order using the host code that you will see once I turn the camera around, I will put your name in for the draw. You need to live in Canada to get those prizes, but if you're outside of Canada, I can send you one of the cards that I make as a prize instead. So feel free to, either way, I love to hear from you. Say hi, let me know you're watching, where you're watching from. If you're new to watching, it's always fun to have people watching and commenting as I go rather than just talking to myself, So today I'm going to be using the Linked Together bundle, which is in our mini catalog. I've used little bits and pieces of it in other videos, but today is kind of focused on that and how different ways it can be used. Just trying to think, there's all sorts of pre-orders for demonstrators. So if you want to get your hands on new stuff, you can always join my team. But I'm trying to think, there's no big sales. There's always the clearance rack. There's always stuff, the online exclusives that got released in March, or it is March. So it's still available. Yeah, so I'm going to just turn around and we'll get started. There's not a lot of... Oh, and I forgot, hang on. I just realized my volume was super low. So hopefully you guys could hear me. Okay, woo, it's all right. Zooming in a little too far. Okay, so there's the host code. If you use the host code or you comment and share the video, you will get into the draw. Let me just try and pull up the video so I can see comments. That's always a good thing. No, show me the comments. I want to see the comments. Hello, Yolande. Okay. I don't know what this is doing here. Yikes. Why won't it? This is weird. I had the same trouble last week on YouTube. Maybe I'm just like comment dumb. Okay, hang on. I'm going to close out of this because this isn't working for some reason. Go back into Facebook. Okay, now where is my video? It is not here. Hang on. Well, I'm on the wrong person here. So this is the Linked Together bundle. It's got the stamp set and dies, but it also has, there we go. Okay, now I've got it. Hi, Lisa. Oh, we missed you too. Are you guys coming out to the lake this summer? All right, you don't need to know what you're doing, Yolande. You're like so good at winging it. Okay, anyways, so not only does it have the stamp set and dies, it has a set of stencils, and the stencils can be used on their own or it can be used with the set. Now, the stamp set is pretty much just sentiments. There's no shapes or pictures or anything, so which can be used with all these great shapes that the dies cut out. The lattice actually goes, it works with the stencil, but if you have it the wrong way, it doesn't work with it. So ask me how I know that, because, you know, I had to go through that. So, and there's lots of ideas as well as you go. All right, let's just jump right in to the first card. This is a card. It's not my own, well, it is my own creation, but the idea of the floating lattice is not my creation. I've seen many demonstrators do this. I haven't seen anyone use, I don't know why. So I've got a 4 1/4 by 11 piece of paper. I'm going to score it at 5 1/2. And then I'm going to cut a 1-inch piece off the bottom. And I'm going to keep this piece because I want to use it. And then I'm going from the score line. I don't know if you can see the score line. I'm going to cut it at 2 inches. So my score line is on the 2-inch line, and I'm going to cut that middle part out. So then it looks like I've got a piece of a card and a second piece of a card. So what I've seen people doing is they take the lattice and they just glue it onto either side of the card, but I thought it would be a little bit flimsy that way, so I just thought I would put a piece of window sheet in behind so that it is nice and solid. Let me just, not this summer, oh boo. Hopefully soon, or maybe, well, I was gonna say maybe we'll have to come your way, but I don't know if we'll be going your way in the near future. All right, so I'm just gonna glue the last. Now it will show through, so if you really don't want it to show that you've put glue onto the window sheet, you could cut out the trellis with what do you call it? An adhesive sheet stuck to it. So, because when it's all adhesive everywhere, it doesn't show as much on the when it's stuck down. Now, you probably can't see this. I'm going to put it in the center, and then I have a bit, so that I have a bit on either side to glue to my card base. Just so you can kind of see. Whoops! Oh no! Oh, apparently I didn't put enough glue, or I just didn't let it dry long enough. Okay, let's try that again. Oh, it moved again. I really must not have had enough glue. Okay, I just need a block. We'll let that dry for a second here, and then we'll take it and glue it down. But while we're waiting, I'm just going to set this aside, and I'm going to take, we have the paper butterfly accents. They're in the annual catalog, and I'm going to take 2 of them. Oops. just because I'm being illy. I mean, we have lots of butterfly sets that you can die cut and whatever. You don't need to have these specific ones. I just like that they were white and I didn't have to do anything. And so I'm gonna have them facing one another, and all I'm gonna do is use my blends to color them in. So I've got Calypso Coral, Wild Wheat, and Daffodil Blight. Don't ask me. Oh, I know how I came up with that color combo. I was looking through the ephemera packs and I was looking for flowers originally. And I decided that, well, I liked one of the flowers, but I only had one flower, so it wasn't working so good. And I liked the way it looked with the pool party, and so I decided to make my butterflies in those colors. Because otherwise, I don't think I would have thought to have wild wheat. I don't think to use wild wheat a lot. It's actually going away. It's retiring right away here. So may as well use it while it's still around. Okay, so then this is wild wheat. There's probably a better way to make this multicolored, but you know, I'm not a coloring guru. Yolande, you probably you're way more practiced at this. And then we've got our Calypso Coral. So usually, you know, butterflies would probably be the colored differences are not this way, but I'm just kind of doing an ombre kind of look. Oops, this is the light one. Too light. And you've got the dark. Yeah, I like this, the link together. I saw it and I was like, oh, I am like a big fan of the, did I use dark on that one or light? Now I'm getting all confused because I feel like I used the light one. I really like the stencils, probably because I'm not super good at coloring, and so I like having the guesswork taken out and them doing it for me. But this one kind of isn't coloring a shape per se, but it's still adding, you can do some fun stuff with the stencils, so that's always fun. All right, I'm just gonna, since these are alcohol based, I can't just wipe this like you would with our water-based inks. So I'm just gonna spray it with a bit of alcohol and then it'll come off for me. Okay, so we've got our butterflies, and then I need a sentiment. So I pulled out the Saying Something ephemera pack. Again, this is in the annual catalog, and since I've got to get a sneak peek at the new annual catalog that will be coming out in June for customers, they still have ephemera packs, but they will be different. So if there's some that you like, get your hands on them. I don't think the same ones will be back, except for there is one, I think, maybe more than one. Not this one though. Okay, so we've got all our pieces and parts. You could color. I thought about coloring the thanks, but I decided to leave it white. Let's see, I think this is sticking now. So I don't know if you can see in the camera, there is a bit of edge there, and I'm just gonna glue it so that it's, and if I have a bit of extra at the base, which I do, I can just cut that off afterwards. so I don't have to worry about. And again, it's easier to, or not easier, but it's better to use like the Stampin' Seal where it's solid. That way it doesn't show, but this isn't wide enough to make a nice, neat row of seals. So I'm just going to use glue here. It'll show a little bit, but it's not the end of the world. It's on the inside of the card. You could always add, but then that kind of defeats the purpose of the window. Okay, oh my, why is this so much wider? That's strange. I cut it off of, it seems wider, maybe not. Okay, I'm gonna let that dry before I start trying to cut that off. And then all I have to do is glue down. I figured it's too hard to put. You could cut little bits and pieces of foam of dimensionals to put on here if you really wanted to pop them up, but I think they're fine flat. So pretend I glued that down. I'll bring out the already glued one through the magic of television. And here's the finished card. Now, you're probably thinking, well, if I want to write something here, it's going to show. So what you can do, I don't have a piece here, but say this is a much bigger piece, you could make a card inside of a card, and so it flips down and up, and so you flip it up, and then your message would be revealed, and then it's still just blue, and it still looks clear. Bye, Elon. Thanks for stopping in. You missed the good ones. I have to do the good ones first for you. Yeah, so that's the first one. Second one, I think I like this. I was debating which way I should do this, but I decided on the order based on the messiness. So, so this one is a fancy fold. Grab my score here. So again, we've got the 4 1/4 by 11, so a half a sheet of cardstock. And then we're going to score it again at 5 1/2. And you can score it at the same, like on the same side, but I'm gonna flip it over because we're making a Z fold, and so I'm gonna end up folding it the other way. So I just like to have it so that it's folded in the correct direction. So then 1/2 of 5 1/2 is 2 3/4. So we'll just fold it like so. So then we fold it in half and then in half again. So that's your, it's gonna be a double Z fold. So this is your first Z, however you want to say it. It's funny how some letters just have, they're so different area to area. And, well, I think, I don't even know what the Canada version versus US version versus whatever. So then we have a second piece. This one's basic white, and it is 9 inches long by 3 1/4 inches wide. And so the 9, we just divided in half again. So we're gonna go at 4 1/2 and score it. And then I'm gonna flip it like I did the other one. And then I'm gonna go to 2 1/4, which is a half of the 4 1/2. So then once again, I'm gonna fold it and fold it. So we've got our second Z, but we're not putting them in like so. We're going to flip it so that you've got the 2 Z's like so. And that is how it's gonna go. I'm not gonna worry about putting it together quite yet because we're gonna make the front of it first. So we'll set that aside. And then I've got my pre-cut piece of lattice in Whisper White, or Basic White, sorry. I always forget that that's changed. And then I've got a matching size piece to this to go underneath. So I have to make sure when I set this up that I put my stencil in the right direction. So I can't remember now which way this goes so that it matches this way. Okay, so we will place our cardstock. Actually, I've already got a mark here, so let's just use that. Let's put our stencil here, and then we'll kind of line things up like so, so that it's all lined up. Then I can remove the lattice piece. And I'm just going to push down on my cardstock here since I hadn't yet. Then I'm going to push my stencil down. And you can tell it's in a different spot than when I did the last one, but that's okay. And I'm going to take some Lost Lagoon and brush. Oh, I need to clean my brush because I think it's full of Pretty Peacock, which is darker. So I'm just gonna come in, and you can tell I've already rubbed it off a time or two, just till it's lighter, just because Lost Lagoon is a bit lighter. Don't wanna, but I am, so I'm kind of doing my stencils backwards. I'm starting, I don't know, you can't see them. They're etched and they are numbered. So this one's number 3, and then I'm gonna go to number 2 and then number 1, which are skinnier and skinnier. And I feel like it's easier to control because the smallest part is going to be the darkest part, and then it gets lighter as you go out. So you could do really light on the first one if you do it in the opposite order, and then a little bit heavier. But I just feel like I don't know, for some reason I feel like this is the easier way to go. So I'm not gonna worry too much about it being dark, because this is gonna be my dark section. So I'm not gonna rub it off or anything. Make sure it's all colored, and I'm probably gonna do a second go around here. I don't want it so dark. I mean, you can go as dark as you want. I need it dark enough that the 2 lighter edges are going to show up. So, you know, decently dark. I could use Pretty Peacock, but I just decided to use all Lost Lagoon. So then I can take this up, and we've got our first layer there. And then we're going to take our second one, which is slightly smaller, and it's the number 2. And you can see there's an edge to it. So this time I'm going to come in and I'm going to take off some of the color, and I'm just going to give it a light, but you can see as I'm going over and giving it a light swipe, the inside is also getting darker. So it works in my favor, because unless I go super, super dark, it'll show up like so. So you can see, I don't know, can you see that? Let me lift it up so you can see the 2-tone there. Now we're gonna go for a third color here. Get that centered. And then I want a really light so I didn't even ink up my brush. I'm just using what's left on it from before. Just making sure there's color everywhere. And then I've got my third. So it kind of looks like, I feel like it looks like it's popping up. It's cool, right? Isn't that pretty? So you could use different colors, but if you use different colors, you'd want to use it from 1 to 3 because you wouldn't want, actually, no, that wouldn't work, would it? You'd want to go lightest to darkest, obviously. So however you do that. So your lighter colors would be on the outside. But now I feel like I'm too far over and there's going to be a white patch. Oh, I did. I'm going to have to cut it. I must have had it moved over. Oh well, that's okay. Okay, so we've got our piece here, and I don't think it doesn't come out that it's showing that it's out, so that's okay. So I'm gonna skip putting glue there because it probably won't glue down. If you don't like gluing these little things, you can always do the adhesive sheet and then cut it out so you're not bothering with the glue. But I find if you just put dots, it doesn't squish out that way because you're not putting too much glue, and it works just fine. Yeah, so we got a sneak peek at the new annual catalog that's coming out. And there is stuff we can pre-order, which I haven't put in yet. But there's some fun new stuff as usual, always. New is always fun. All right. Oh, I just realized I never cut that other one, but that was the other card. So I'm gonna cut the excess here. We have hanging off the lattice. And then we've got that. So then I've got a piece of Pretty Peacock. Oops, it's not quite dry yet. Let me put my, where's my, oh dear, the block that I was using to hold down. Oh, here it is. Okay, let's get that down. We can work with, so I've cut out the oval, which is from the dies. So there's the diamond, the oval. The diamond is really unique. I've used it on a lot of projects. I really like the diamond. And then it's got some vines and some flowers, and it cuts multi flowers, which is fun. So here I've cut the daisies, and instead of having the daisies full, like, you can make your daisies full by putting multiple, or you can cheat and you can make them kind of the half daisies, I don't know, the way you see it, like, I guess it just depends on the view that you have, but either way, if you cut less flowers this way. And once again, I'm going to take my glue and put them together. Oh, Lisa, I don't know if you're still watching. Are the twins, do they know what they're doing next year? Are they swimming? Is Gentry going to keep swimming for post-secondary, or is she following in Taylor's footsteps? curious. All right, I can't believe they're graduating. Done. And then Gavin's next year. It's crazy. They're all growing up. All right. Then there is, so out of the sentiments, you can add the wishing you or just a note. There's, you know, basically birthday, anything like what the best could be birthday or whatever, lifetime of love. So happy, you know, like it's very kind of generic. It can be used for a lot of different occasions. I just have a strip here. I'm gonna stamp. Wishing you with the pretty peacock. And oh, I was gonna stamp the best. Wishing you the best. Or should, yeah. And this is the wild wheat, so it pairs really well, I find, with Pretty Peacock and Lost Lagoon. As much as it was a color that I wasn't too sure whether I liked it when it first came out, there's some colors that I really like it with, like the Pretty in Pink and the pinks, these bluey greens. Okay, so then we've got our, let's see if this is glued. It's happy now. Okay, so then we will put this onto the Pretty Peacock. And then this can go. I think we'll pop this up with some mini dimensionals. And then for the flowers, I'm gonna put dimensional here on the back, and I'm not going to worry about it showing, like you can see it where the hole is. That's okay, because I'm going to be putting an embellishment there, so it's almost like providing it a place to sit. So we've got those, and then I'm going to take my embellishments, if I can find them. There they are. So these are the low profile dots. I think they are part of the storybook suite that's in the mini catalog. I'm pretty sure they're out of the mini catalog. Anyways, the gold looks really pretty. Center, and they're kind of, well, they're low profile as they are named, so they don't stick up too much, and they just are perfect for these little daisies. Okay, then we just need to stick this down. Maybe I'll use glue since it's very uneven. Make sure it sticks to something. And just maybe a little bit off center. Since the wishing you will hang off. And then we need to find a place for the flowers. I have no nails. I just cut my nails. Makes it hard to peel these dimensionals. And I'm gonna make the one that's kind of sticking out look like it has a stem. The rest you can't really see. Okay, and then we just need to put our card together. So that obviously just goes on top. So to put this together, the easiest way, I think, is to line up the folded part to the other folded, and then well, the glue comes almost to the fold. Glue is the easiest because you have time to move it a little bit and manipulate it. And you just kind of want to try and have an even border around, and you want to make sure that your fold here is not inside of the other one, so it's not hindering anything. And then your other piece, you can glue. And you just have to fold it down on top. Make sure, that way it folds flat. And then you've got your double Z. And all you have to do, you could pop this up if you want, or you can stick it, I'm gonna stick it straight down on there. And then you could put, it's easier to, I forgot, it's easier to stamp this if you do it before you stick it on, but you can do it after the fact as well. I did this one after the fact. So yeah, that's your double Z fold card. And the last one, I'm gonna use the last two stencils of the bunch, and I'm gonna blend it and emboss it with some paste. So I'm gonna take a piece. You can tell I went on a theme for color, obviously. I did that last week. It's easier for not pulling out so many things. So I'm gonna line this up again, and then I'll know where to my paper can be. I am going to cut the paper down once I'm done, so I'm not too worried about whether it's straight and has the nice frame. And then I'm going to use so I'm going Pretty Peacock on Pretty Peacock, so it's going to be quite dark. And I'm just going straight on. You could, if you want it to kind of look more distressed or just kind of more color variation, you can, I'm just going dark all the way. Because of the paste I'm putting on top, I want it to have a good, so this is almost like my background paper that I'm making, which is nice to do with stencils. Okay, so I've got that. That's my background. And then there's these cute, I'm going to call them daisies for lack of a better. And the whole reason you want to line this up to the notch is that way it lines up to the pattern underneath. Like I said, they're all meant to mix and match with each other and be used with each other. Like you can put the daisies into the lattice and they would fit, or into like, I could have done daisies on top of these. They all fit into one another. So you can kind of mix and match as you wish. All right, so then I'm going to take my silicone sheet and I have a really old, as you can tell it's old, it's green. All of our new labels are black. It's the Shimmery White embossing paste. And I'm just gonna, where's my tool? Here it is. I'm gonna just take, you don't need a lot since the holes are quite small. So it's drying out on me, but it's still, there's still some in here that's salvageable. Okay, so that's plenty. Don't even need all of that. But I'm gonna close this up. Always, I would recommend closing up your paste before you start working, because it does dry quick and it will dry out on you. So then I'm gonna use my silicone sheet and I'm putting my paste on there. I want it to be pretty in pink. So I'm only putting one drop because the pink is quite dark in the concentrated refill form. It is a bit of a darker pink overall, but I would like it lighter. So obviously the more paste you have, the more white. So then once you're happy with the color, I'll scrape it up. And then you're just gonna come in and put it onto your stencil. I don't like cleaning the craft stuff, but I do. I feel like I enjoy the messy part of crafting. I just don't like the cleaning up after part of messy crafting. Or when my hands are Smurf blue and I go somewhere, it's a little embarrassing, but you know. At least I've had fun. Okay. And since this does dry very quickly, and since I don't have time to go to the sink, I'm going to take a wet wipe and make sure I wipe it off. Like, I've got permanent stuff stuck to this, and you don't want it to be all uneven. And then I almost wiped it on there. That would have been not so good. So I'm going to pull this off. So you've got the nice ta-da there. And then I'm going to take, I'm going to wipe this. And then I'm going to wipe my stencil just so it doesn't, because that way if I want to blender brush at some point with ink, you don't want it to be all uneven with paste. Ideally, you would want to rinse it off with water because you can see there's some stuff stuck in the holes there. Just, and then it's back on here. The paste is messed. Oh my goodness. Hang on. My wipe is saturated in glitter and paste. Okay, I think maybe I'll try and give this one more go with a clean. Oh, look at that. Still has so much in it. I'm cleaning forever. Okay, good enough. Now my hands are all sticky. All right. Obviously, you want to let this dry, so I'm just going to set this aside. It doesn't take long to dry, but you still need to let it dry, otherwise it'll smush. And I've got my card base. I've got an extra, what do you call it? border. And then I've got the diamonds. So I've cut the diamonds 3 times, and I've got Lost Lagoon and Pretty Peacock. And I think this came from the catalog card, the idea of layering them. Yeah, it did. But they cut, so you could just cut this one in half and put part here and part here. But then here, I'll show you in the catalog. Then your line goes straight versus having it come in when you have the full diamond. So you've got that. So I kind of liked having that inside part. So what I did is I glued these two together, and I just left kind of a bit of a space. I'm running out of seal. So I should have used glue because then it's easier to position, but that's okay. And I'm just trying to get an even amount. So it's not crooked and it's evenly spaced. And then you can just put this on top. I decided to pop mine up. And since it's a darker color, I'm going to use my black ones. So they look white with the paper, but once you take it off, it's the black dimensionals. And then there's glitter everywhere. It must be all over my hands. I really feel like I need to go wash my hands. Okay, so then you've got the diamonds. Since it's still drying, I'll show you the finished one, but before I do, so I cut out some of these flowers. I tried cutting them out in Pretty in Pink, but to me, I liked having, you could color, I guess, the Pretty in Pink cardstock, but I decided I prefer to use my blends on the white. You could use a blender brush if you brushed the paper before you cut out, I think would be the easiest. Just to get some added texture to your flowers. Now, okay, here's my original one, since I'm not going to wait for my embossing powder to dry fully. But isn't that, it's like this background is the star of the show to me, and then the rest is just extra. Now, I used Lost Lagoon for the branches, but I found it really disappeared. So I was thinking that, pretend this is on here with this some background. I feel like it might look really pretty with these ones. What do you think? Do you think I should do Lost Lagoon? Of course, I don't have a pink flower. Or Wild Wheat. Let me know what you think. All right, so those are the 3 cards for today. This one, and this one, and this one. I could add some bling to this one. I just hadn't done it. All right, let me make sure it's in the picture. Sometimes I cut off my my hands are full of sticky glitter. All right, hopefully you enjoyed today's live. I just realized this totally looks crooked. Anyways, I haven't been watching the video enough. Yeah, hopefully you enjoyed today's live. I will be live again next week, and I will do the draw next week. So if you like this, you know people who might like it, or you just want to share with others, I would love it if you share. If you're on YouTube, subscribe, share, like, and have a great rest of your week. Have a great weekend, And we'll see you guys next week. Thanks for watching. Bye.